Whether you're a suburban athlete or an Olympic champion, you've got to work hard to get results. We've put over 15 years' experience into developing Active Man, combining vitamins, minerals and proteins. Active Man helps provide you with the nutrients you need to optimize performance and assist recovery. Discover the Active Man range, now available. Active Man, power up.
Welcome to this week's Power Progress podcast, and this week I have someone called Bryan Tan. I met at Miami Pro, and he's actually a lawyer of some sort, but I'll let him explain a bit more because I don't know much about this field. But how you doing, mate? You good?
Hi, Nathan. Thank you very much for having me on your podcast. Really appreciate it. Yes, I'm very well. Hope you are well too.
Yeah, really good, mate. Obviously, I'm saying he's a lawyer, but he is an amazing fitness model competitor, and he looked absolutely awesome Miami Pro when I was backstage. But I think what's interesting, we were talking just before obviously we went live, but we was trying to sort of speak about how you get yourself to that level of being obviously at law school and doing all this other stuff, and we come to the conclusion it'd be good to talk about something about time management. Is that right?
Yeah, time management I think is a huge part of everyone's life. Whether you are or you're not into fitness, managing your time is so key to achieving your goals.
Yeah, definitely. And you actually live in London, which is obviously quite busy, I can imagine. I can imagine you've got a lot to do in a day. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think as a whole, London's a very busy place. Everyone's rushing. Everyone's going from, point A to point B, trying to get there ASAP. And especially growing up guys, by the way, I'm from Malaysia, and thank you very much for, bringing up Miami Pro. Nathan, you looked amazing at Pure Elite, and I hope you all the best for your next year in competing. But going back to this year, growing up in Malaysia, you live a way more chill life. And ever since I got to London for university back in 2015, I realized that in order to achieve what you want to achieve, you need to manage your time, especially because everyone here is really chasing, or everyone here is really pushing forward to achieving their goals. Yeah, so I think again, whether you're as a whole, London compared to a lot of cities, to a lot of people are super driven, and I think that's what gets everyone in the zone.
Yeah, I quite liked hearing that perspective, how different it actually is. And I hear that a lot from someone coming from another country, the comparison that it does seem to be a lot more on the go here, and everyone's so driven and focused on the next thing. And obviously there's probably a lot we can take from this other world, what you've been in, which I think, when you go back, I bet you could almost completely relax. Of course, you must go back and visit parents and etc.
Yeah. I guess linking that back now to what we were, planning to discuss, time management. It's really critical to manage your time in order to achieve your goals. So, for example, if in terms of when I first started training, I felt that I needed to find time each day. It really doesn't matter whether you prefer training in the morning or training in the evening, as long as it's a time where it's sustainable for you, and a time where you feel like you're able to train hard. And that's why there's no one right time that fits all. So I remember when I was back in my second year of uni, I genuinely just enjoyed training really late in the evening, although that's completely different now, and I prefer training during the day because that's when I feel I'm strongest. It worked for me at the start of my journey, and that's why I kept going. It could be first thing in the morning and just getting it out of the way, but if you want to achieve your goals, prioritizing the time you train and when you're going to get the meals in and your meal preps, I guess these three things and sleep will be a huge part in impacting whether you achieve your goals.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting when you say about the time of day when you work out, because I've now do like a HIIT class in the morning, and I never used to do it with them, but now I do. And I find my mind in the morning before doing the HIIT class, I don't want to do it at all. But when I get into it within the first 10 minutes, I can tell my body likes that level of intensity in the morning. Whereas when we talk about lifting weights, I think I'm the same as you. I actually think I perform better throughout the daytime. Around about 10, 11 o'clock is a really good sweet spot for me.
For sure. Yeah, I think, for me too, around 11 or around 2 to 3 is usually when I perform best. So yeah, I guess when you wake up and, you do a bit of cardio, it gets a bit of dopamine in. And although it might be hard to get there, once you're there and you're surrounded by positive people, that's where, you feel involved and that kind of also links to enjoying the whole process and enjoying training. That there is no, like what you said, one right type of training, one type of fitness. Doing a combination of different types of fitness and doing what you enjoy most, like you say, how you enjoy weight training, that will help you get you a step closer to achieving your goals, because you really don't want to see training as a chore. It's important to see it as something that you enjoy, and when you first start it's never going to be something you enjoy. You're going to feel slightly out of your comfort zone, but the more you do it and the more you surround yourself with people like Nathan, people who are super positive, that's where you find the whole process so much easier.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that whole priority, we already kind of went into it, but it's about making that time, isn't it? Would there be a certain time what you have to get up now in the morning to make sure you get everything in before you work out?
I think that really depends on a day to day, whether, I've got class, I've got clients. But usually I try to set like a night routine. So I try to get to, I'm not the best at this and I'm trying to improve it because sleeping early is quite hard for me, especially if I'm trying to get everything done before the end of the day. But recently I've been a lot better, trying to sleep before 11, around 10:30, so I can get my 7 hours in, get into a routine, start early, get my first meal in, and then I'll go train. Once the training's sorted, I can get everything else in my day. But if I have a really early class in the morning, then I'll tend to go to the class first, and then post class, I'll start training. Yeah.
When it comes to your assignments or essays or what they call it now, I remember when I was at college and writing these essays, when you get into the flow of it, time just sort of run away from it, especially when there's a deadline. Have you got a strategy how you get yourself out of that to maybe have a workout, or is it just a case when it comes to you needing to do that assignment, all your energy just goes completely into that?
Again, I think that comes to what we were discussing about planning.
Yeah.
So as if I know I've got an assignment, they usually give you about 2 weeks to do to do it. And yes, I think I've always been the guy that have left it to last minute. But ever since I've been into fitness and I've realized how important and crucial time management is, you can plan in advance, and I just genuinely believe that there is no schedule that is so busy that you won't be able to take out 30 minutes of 30 minutes, not even every day, 4 or 5 times a week. 3 times is enough for a beginner, but let's say 4 to 5 times a week to train, because majority of us are procrastinating on Instagram or for more than half an hour a day. So and watching Netflix, and that's not that that might give you instant satisfaction. In the long term, you just feel drained and tired. I think, although like what you said, waking up in the morning just to hit, it might not give you the instant satisfaction of doing it, but post workout, you feel amazing, you feel great, and you feel positive, motivated to smash the rest of your day.
Like it. So either you're banging into this essay and you want to get it done, because you've planned, you've got that little self nudge in your head say, look, now it's time, you're going to be better after. And then you pull yourself away from it. You do, if it's scheduled in, to do your workout. And probably when you go back to that work, what you need to do, you're probably better at it anyway, because you've taken that break.
You see it from a post-training, you can see it from a different perspective. It doesn't even need to be weight training. It could be a post-break, post-run, post-walk, Yeah, usually I'm really high on pre-workout and caffeine, so I'll be able to focus a lot better too. But yeah, that's very true. You know, you won't be able to work for 8-10 hours in a row. Have, you know, maybe every couple of hours, every hour, have a 20-30 minutes break, and when you have a longer break, that's where you can get a quick session in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, we've kind of spoke about this at the beginning, but how important is having that desire and passion and having a goal at the end of it comes into having this prioritize on everyday tasks.
So ever since I started weight training, I started seeing the progress. Like, I wanted more, and I'm sure that was the same, you know, with you. The first time I nailed in my transformation, I was like, wow, I didn't expect this. You know, the first time seeing the six pack, or the first time getting to a certain weight. Once you see this, you just want more, and you start finding different ways, you know, to achieve the same goals and learning different approaches. And that was what, you know, got me so into this, because it's crazy how, you know, you can't, let's say, put money, or you can't buy a good physique. It's down to you. So that shows, you know, your discipline as a person, your determination as a person to really fight for it is something where you can't buy. And that's what I find so, like, you know, insane about training, because most people that train and have great physiques are usually quite dedicated and you know, disciplined people.
Yeah. And a good thing about, that's what I love about training. A lot of what your behavior is in the gym or when you exercise outside, whatever, transcends into your personal life. So obviously what you do in the gym is, I'm sure, has actually helped out with your law score.
Yeah, it's probably helped me a lot more than I first thought it will. A lot of people think, you know, especially in bodybuilding, oh yeah, it's just people who are in love with themselves. But what I really, you know, like out of training is it gets me into that routine, and it gets me ready to, you know, smash law when I need to smash it.
That's great. Yeah. Going back to this passion thing, like you said, it's not something you develop. And I'll see if I can remember this, but I think it was a course down London. It was NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I don't know if you've heard of this, but this is about mindset. But there was something called the 4 classes of behavior. I don't know if you've ever come across this. So what you're talking about, I'll explain this really quick. So what you have class 1 behavior, which is something which you want to do. It serves you short term and it serves you long term. But most things don't just go into class 1. You don't naturally fall into that. Most things you start, which is new, will start in class 2. And that one is something you don't want to do in the moment.
For sure.
It doesn't give you almost a quick release. It doesn't make you feel great straight away, but it does serve you long term. But what happens is the more you practice class 2 behavior, i.e. if you went to the gym for the first time, the more it becomes a class 1. And once it becomes that class 1, it's hooked, it's there. And that's when that passion kicks in.
That's a very, very good point. You know, one of the reasons, you know, when I started training in uni was because it gave me that buzz, but it didn't give it to me initially. I used to be, you know, uni students, we used to be going out all the time, late nights, you know, loads of, you know, drinks, and that was essentially class 1. It gave you the buzz, but when I was training, it didn't give me the same buzz that I thought, you know, I'd get from going out. But the more I trained, and the harder I could train, and the more I enjoyed in getting to the zone, the more it felt like I was going out. And now it feels amazing the day after, a week after, when you train, improve. And I guess for the long term, you know, training is something so sustainable, and it gets, you know, improves your health and improves your overall mental health too. And I think that's why you know, we encourage, or we try to inspire so many other people to train.
And now I'm going to have to cover class 3 and 4 because you've just covered one of them. So a class 3 behavior is something that makes you feel really good in the moment, but it only serves you short term and it's bad for you long term. So that would be that whole going out drinking, staying out late. That life felt amazing at the time, but you knew even when you were doing it, the day after, when you got the hangovers and you weren't as productive at work and stuff like that, you knew it wasn't going to serve you. But it was so addictive because it's a class 3. It makes you do it again. But what happens is the more you live a class 3, the more you go into that wormhole, as it were, and the more now it becomes a class 4, which is when actually you're doing it out of habit. It doesn't serve you short term and it doesn't serve you long term. There's some extreme examples of class 4, like being an alcoholic, for example, but they are the 4 class of behavior. So the art is changing some of them class 3 into a class 2, which is completely different, but will give you the same long term, which becomes a class 1. So I had to cover that because of the alcohol scenario.
No, I think that's like I've never thought of it as 4 different classes, but it's such a great way because it completely makes sense and I can see all. And I still remember a time when I was going out every weekend and how it moved over from class 3 to class 4. And I realized, like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this just to, you know, please my friends and just to go out every weekend. But was I really getting anything out of it? Number one, no. Did I feel like I was, you know, fulfilled in life, in achieving what I wanted to achieve? No, you actually, you know, feel like you don't feel amazing after going out every weekend when people think, wow, you're living the life, you know, you're partying every weekend and you're having the time of your life. And that's why I think, you know, what we want to do is we want to live for the long term and make sure that, you know, we are healthy. And I think for me, health is number 1 and happiness is number 2. And then, you know, training, looking better and you know, and all of that is just a very, very good byproduct of training.
Definitely. I think we've covered quite a lot today. Is there any final message you want to tell someone who's listening to this?
I think for, you know, people who lack slight motivation or don't feel super inspired to train, the key would be to reach out to someone like Nathan and to surround yourself with people who have, you know, achieved like a body transformation or achieved client transformation, and taking that first step of learning from different people, especially finding, you know, a coach or a friend who's really positive and passionate about improving you, and helping you achieve your goals, will be a big kickstart, or like it will, you know, kick you to the right direction, and that will be better than just trying to do it on your own initially. So I remember when I first started, when I had a lot of people surrounding me who were so into fitness, so passionate, it gave me that drive to really improve and one day to compete, you know, in fitness modeling. And I've never thought I was able to do it. It all started from one small body transformation, you know, back in 2018, and I was like, wow, like, you know, sometimes you don't realize it, that how far you've come from day one, hitting the gym, training just biceps. And again, so surround yourself with positive people and find a coach that you look up to that will help you achieve your goals. And, you know, within a year or within a couple of months, you'll achieve, you know, what you set up to achieve.
Nice. That's that. I think that will really hit home to some people listening to this today. But mate, it's been great to speak to you. Hopefully I'll be back on, and hopefully I'll see you in person really soon as well.
Yeah, let's 100% get a session and a YouTube video. And thank you very much, Nathan. Have an amazing day. We'll catch up soon.
See you later, mate.